Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while. This is a highly requested video from my Discord, so I want to make sure that I do it properly. It's a kinetic blast of the clustering build guide, and this build is definitely one of the best mapping builds that I have ever played. Very tanky, extremely fast, and capable of running all map modifiers on tier 16 maps with any combination. Seriously, I have done over 200 maps with the Twisted of Fate keystone, with the no leech, no regen, double reflect, and clear all of them without any issues. Without further ado, let's take a look. First, full credit to Palsteron and a Reddit post from Bear that inspired me to play the build. If you want to know more about the skill mechanics, check them out. I won't go too much into details, but will focus on the core setup that makes this build work. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or join my Discord to ask. All the links will be in the description of this video. Because this build requires some specific uniques to function, and if more people are playing it, you might not be able to get what you want. So I'll explain some alternative options and the crafting as well. Make sure you watch through everything. The way I want to present this build guide is to go over all the core concepts of the build that are important, so you know what you're trying to do instead of explaining every single item in the POB. I highly recommend you watch this part to set up this build properly. There are many versions of this build, but I believe Hierophant to be the best ascendancy. Kinetic blast of clustering scales off maximum mana, and this ascendancy is the best at mana stacking. We can scale our damage and defense very cost efficiently with intelligence and mana, so when in doubt, you prioritize items with those two stats. As with any attack-based Hierophant, you don't need to clear Uber Lab. The only 3 ascendancy notables that we're using are Conviction of Power, Divine Guidance, and Sanctuary of Thought. Alright, since this is a Doryani's prototype build, You need to convert all your physical damage into lightning, and there are 2 ways to do it. We get 40% from the lightning mastery on our tree. You can either craft a 60% conversion glove, or you can use a physical to lightning support plus benchcraft conversion on the gloves. More details in the crafting section later. For the 60% conversion gloves, run Awakened Vicious Projectile support and replace it with physical to lightning damage support if you are running the cheap gloves. Next, we're going to get our lightning resistance to minus 200%. This will make our damage, which is already 100% lightning, ignore enemy resistances. We'll achieve this with our ring setup. Calandra's jewelry came back this league, so what we'll do is get a negative lightning resistance ring together with usable stats like intelligence or mana. After getting a good ring, you will buy a Calandra's touch to mirror it, and then we're done. The reason why Doryani's build was strong is because of these Calandra's jewelry in the first place after all. There's not a lot of room for attributes in this build, and we need to hit the 159 dexterity and strengths requirements. You want a good Mageblood with high attribute rolls, a good dex roll on your gloves, and if you can get a good attributes roll on your ring, it would also work. If you somehow are still not hitting the strength requirements, you can also take the plus 30 strength node to fix it temporarily. To reserve all the aura that we're using, make sure you have a reservation efficiency roll on your mind spiral. 90% should be enough. We'll get 12% from the mana mastery node and the other 8% from the thread of hope with this reservation efficiency node here. You can go for a perfect 80% reservation from your helmet, but don't overpay for it. The setup with Thread of Hope is a lot cheaper and is there for a reason, because you can only find like 2 or 3 perfectly roll helmets available. You can also make your own helmet by using Val Orb as well. In our build, we're getting at least 70 reduced curse effects from the corrupted implicit from the jewels, and the other 30% will be from the Soul of Yugal Pantheon. This will give us 100% reduced curse effect. We do have consecrated ground from the flask, but the uptime is not 100%, so I don't like that. For corrupted blood immunity, you will also need to get a jewel with a corrupted implicit. Keep these things in mind when you go shopping for your jewels. We are physical reflect immune because of Doryani's prototype, and we convert all our physical damage to lightning. For elemental reflect, we are using Soul of Yugal for 50% damage prevention and awakened elemental attack level 5 to reduce it further. I have heard that there are haunted modifiers that can reflect and kill you, but personally, I have not run into that issue. We get full elemental ailment immunity from Storm Shroud. Make sure to roll your flask like this with at least 52% chance to avoid shock. We will get stun immunity from our flask as well. Just roll your flask like this. Remember, we're using Mageblood, so make sure your flask is very well rolled. Part of the reason why this build is so comfy to play is because the sustain is amazing, and I chose quality of life over more damage on paper. The setup we have is how we can run pretty much all map mods. We have instant leech with Ghost Reaver for energy shield leech, and it makes us immortal during map unless we get one-shotted, which rarely happens unless you are purposely standing in rippy stuff. We take Zealot's Oath for energy shield regeneration, and it helps us in no leech maps. We have mana recoup from the helmet and mana on kill to sustain our mana during maps, so we'll never have mana problem. I do think Zealot's Oath is optional, so if you don't like it, you get 2 free points to do whatever you like. Because of our lightning resistance, we will need to convert the lightning damage taken from hits to another element. The easiest way to do this is using the Eyes of the Great Wolf Talisman. We are going to get 100% of lightning damage from hits taken as either cold or fire damage. The other implicit that you will need is the increase attribute. However, if it's too expensive or not available, you can substitute that with other implicits like increased damage or critical strike multiplier. Then you will have to spend some points to fix your strength and dexterity requirements. This is probably the hardest item to get in the build, and there's not many alternatives. We're very tanky with 90% max resistances. Our lightning hit is considered to be 90% as well because of the max hit conversion. We get 4% max resistance from the purity of fire and ice or a gem. Another 9% from our flask setup. Make sure you roll them properly. The last 2% will get them on the jewels. I think that is everything from the core setup of the build. For the rest of the items in setup, please check them out in the PoE. If you have any questions, come ask them in my Discord. I do get a lot of questions, but if you're a channel supporter, I'll prioritize them. Thanks for your support. Now, we'll get to the crafting section. So the glove is where we get our conversion. I'll have 2 versions for this craft. The differences between them are probably 4 to 5 million DPS, but the cost is probably 100 to 200 divines apart, depending on your luck. Okay, so for the cheap version, you are going to search for a glove with attack speed, intelligence, and dexterity with an open prefix. After that, we're going to craft the physical to lightning mods. Then you will finish the craft with the Searing Exarch and Eater of World implicit. We're looking for increased damage per 100 intelligence and gain 1 rage on attack hit. Optionally, you can go for gain 2 rage on attack hit as well. I'll cover this in the expensive craft. For the more expensive version, first you want to buy a pair of fractured gloves. Then we'll be working on the suffix. We'll be crafting with Deafening Essence of Zeal. The goal is to get just enough dexterity for your build while getting good intelligence rolls. It takes on average 300 tries to get both stats at tier 4. At this point, you'll want to remove all the prefixes from the gloves. We can do it by making it Searing Exarch dominant by using a lesser ember once on the glove, then use the Eldritch Annulment to safely remove the prefix. We'll end up with something like this. Now, we want to unveil the lightning conversion mods. First, to protect our suffix, we'll craft the suffix cannot be changed on the glove. You can do this from the crafting bench, or you can save like 1.5 divine by beastcraft it with the Wild Bristle Matron. Once done, you will hit it with a Veiled Orb. Before unveiling, we'll craft the gloves to block the veil mods. Now, unveil it and hope for physical damage converted to lightning. If you did not hit it, go back to step 3. For the last prefix, we are going to craft Increase Energy Shield, then move on to the implicits. Crafting the implicits for this glove is not optional and will be very expensive, so make sure you have enough currency. There's only 3 steps, but depending on your luck, it will cost you from 30 to 100 or more divines. The implicits modifier have 6-tier labeling from lesser to perfect. Our goal is to get our rage on attack hit Searing Exarch mod to perfect tier. And here are the steps. First, use Greater Eldritch Embers until you hit the gain 1 rage per attack hit. Next step, you are going to use 1 Exceptional Eldritch Ichor and an Orb of Conflict in that order for a chance to upgrade the Searing Exarch mods. If the mod goes down in tier, go back to the first step. If the mod goes up in tier, use another Exceptional Eldritch Ichor and Orb of Conflict to try and upgrade it again. Repeat steps 2 until you get the mod to perfect tier. Using the Exceptional Eldritch Ichor after every step is important because it raised the chance for us to upgrade the Searing Exarch mod. If you do upgrade the Eater mod to a higher than exceptional tier, then you can use an Orb of Conflict again without using the Exceptional Ichor. Alright, so that was the hardest part. Now for the last step, we'll be using Grand Eldritch Ichor to get the 20% physical damage converted to lightning mods. Then upgrade it with an Orb of Conflict and we are done. The final gloves will look something similar to this. Here's a clip of me finishing the gloves craft after failing 10 Orb of Conflicts in a row. Trust in the process and you'll get there. Because I got attributes on rings, so I don't need dexterity on my gloves. Otherwise, everything is as expected. For the wand craft, we are going to use the Recombinators. Now I know it's quite intimidating if you don't know anything about it. There's a whole Reddit post about the mechanics of the Recombinators with how to force modifiers with the exclusive mods and everything, and I will put the link in the description of this video as well. The good news is that if you know the recipe, the process is very simple, and there's not much thinking behind it. You'll still need to go through the tedious crafting process, however. Let's talk about it. When crafting with the Recombinators, I plan to do it in 2 phases. First, the preparation phase. In this phase, we need to buy a lot of Shaper Influence imbued wand at item level 84 or higher. I usually buy from 20 to 30 wands. Now, we prepare the base by making all the wands magic. We want to force 3 prefixes and 2 suffixes on the wand and craft the last mods. So we'll use Alterations Orb to roll them separately. This step is why we need a lot of wands. Put all your wands in a stash tab and use a Regex to roll them. Each time the wand lights up, you want to check if it's one of the 5 mods we want. Ideally, for each mod, we'll roll 5 wands before moving to the next phase. The base magic wand that we want needs to have only 1 mod, so you can use an Orb of Annulment to remove the mod that you don't want. In practice, the spell damage prefix is much rarer, and you'll get it a lot less, so just be patient. Once done with the preparation, group the wands by the prefix and suffix, then we'll move on to combining them. So in the next phase, you should have 5 wands from the preparation phase like this. Again, all of them should be magic and have a single mod that we want. Now, we will use the Recombinators to craft. For wand number 1, we will use the physical as extra lightning and mana. If successful, you should end up with something like this. Noted that this wand should be rare instead of magic, so if you get a magic version, try to use Regal Orb and Annul. If the result is not desirable, then repeat this step. For wand number 2, we will use the 2 suffix, which is crit chance and attack speed. If successful, you will end up with something like this. Wand number 3, we will need to craft exclusive mods because spell damage is harder to hit. And by adding the exclusive mods, we will increase the success rate of the result wand. You will benchcraft critical strike multiplier while near rare or unique on the spell damage wand, and attack with this weapon, penetrate elemental or chaos with either crit chance or attack speed. It's up to you, and in this example, I'll use the attack speed wand. The expected result should be something like this. Noted that it's fine to have the crafted mod on because we will recraft multi-mod on it later anyway. Now, we'll craft the 4th wand using the 2nd and 3rd wand. In this step, we are also adding exclusive mods. So benchcraft multimod on the 2nd wand and add the chaos pen and elemental pen to it. Multimod the 3rd wand and add elemental penetration with crit multi while near a rare or unique. After that, hit them with the Recombinators and the result that you want should be something like this. In the last step, you're going to combine the 1st wand with the 4th wand together with exclusive crafted mods as well. So benchcraft multimod on the 1st wand and add elemental pen with crit multi while near a rare or unique. The 4th wand, you want multimod and add chaos and elemental pen to it. Now close your eyes and slam, hoping for all the mods that we need show up. If it does, congrats. Now, go to your bench and craft on Global Critical Strike Multiplier, and go to the runesmithing table to enchant your wand with the Tormented Spirits. This actually turned out to be longer than I thought. And with that, we've come to the end of the video. I hope you will enjoy this build as much as I do. Remember to like, subscribe, and if this video helps, you can support me by joining the channel supporter to get exclusive perks and Discord roles. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video soon.